Hello, students of Junior Achievement. My name is Arikat, and I'm here with you to speak about the taxes that you're going to pay in your life. Now, a little bit about myself. I got involved in Junior Achievement through my work in Houston, and then when I moved up to Dallas, I joined the Young Executives Board. I'm a tax attorney here in town, so hopefully I'm a good resource to speak on this issue. So the three types of taxes that I'm going to cover today, which are the major taxes you will likely pay in your life, are income, sales, and property. And I'm going to kick it off by discussing income taxes. Now, the first thing I would say is that, in Texas, we don't have an income tax on individuals. And that's pretty rare. We're only one of 4 states out of the 50 that don't impose an income tax on individuals. And that's why a lot of people like coming here in Texas. That actually played a role in my decision as to where I work. Because I know that if I move to California or New York, for example, I'm going to pay a decent chunk of change just in income taxes. And, that's not even in addition to like the extra cost of like higher rents and food prices and those types of things. So, but even if you live in Texas, you're going to pay federal income tax. And federal income tax it's split up into 2 types of taxes. Employee payroll taxes and your marginal income tax. So your employee payroll tax is Social Security and Medicare. And the reason I split those up is because it really works a lot different than the regular income tax. So those taxes are a flat tax rate of about 8-9% that's applied on your income. And, it's probably for a lot of people who make, let's say, less than $50,000 a year, that's the main tax that they're going to pay. The reason that's the main tax is because the marginal income tax, while it can get to be really high if you make a lot of income, at low income levels, you don't pay that much. I think it's, the first certain amount of your income, like $10,000 or whatever it might be, you pay 0%. And then it goes up all the way to 37%, so that, when you're, let's say you're like a celebrity, making $20 million a year, and you're in California with their income tax, you might end up paying, like $8-9 million in income tax out of your $20 million of income. But fortunately, that tax isn't as high on the lower income levels. And then for your income taxes, when you work through somebody, they're going to automatically collect those income taxes as they pay you. Like you'll see that in your like W-2, that certain amounts are withheld and paid over to the federal government. And then when you file at the end of the year, your 1040 or likely your 1040 EZ, then at that point, like you'll calculate the actual amount of taxes that you owe, and you'll either like receive a refund because your employer withheld too much, or you'll have to pay more because you didn't pay enough. And and just so that like you filing taxes doesn't change how much you owe, because some people say, they're like, oh, I filed my taxes, I got a refund. Oh, I filed my taxes, I had to pay. What's going on? What's causing that is really the withholding that your employer is doing. If they're withholding too much, then you're going to get a refund when you file for your taxes. If they're not withholding enough, then you're going to have to pay taxes when you file for your taxes. And, by the way, I use TurboTax to file. I have been doing it my entire life. I think it's something we can all learn. And so I just recommend that all of you learn how to file your own taxes by TurboTax as soon as possible, because some point in your life, you're going to need to be doing that. Okay. Now moving to the other types of taxes. I'll go into the tax that probably all of us have paid ever since we were like 6 years old. Sales taxes. So, as you know, when you go buy something for 99 cents, guess what? $1's not enough because of sales taxes. And here in Dallas County, the sales tax rate is 8.25%. 6.25% is for the state, and the other 2% is for the county. And Texas funds most of its budget, because it doesn't have an income tax, through these sales taxes. And so that's why we have a relatively high sales tax, because we don't have an income tax. But some people, a lot of people prefer that. And then the last tax I want to talk about is property tax. Okay, so this is probably a tax that you've never paid, but your parents may have paid. So property taxes are imposed on the real estate that you own. And the biggest piece of real estate that most people own is the house they live in. The amount of property tax in Texas is usually 2% of your home value. So let's say your house is worth $250,000. Then that would be $5,000 per year of property tax that you pay. And I'll tell you what, that's pretty high. So in a lot of states, like in California, the property tax is usually less than 1%, while in Texas and most counties it's above 2%. And again, the reason there is that we don't have an income tax, and so we fund a lot of our local and state expenditures through property and sales taxes. Now, one thing to note about the property tax is that, it's used to fund local schools. And so in areas where homes are expensive, schools are really good because there's a lot of property tax being collected. And in areas where homes are less expensive, then schools don't have as much money. And also, like the city, the police department, social services don't have as much money because they're collecting less in property tax. And, that's one of kind of like a frequent policy discussion that people have, is how can we, boost the schools and city programs of these low-income neighborhoods because they're not collecting enough in property taxes. Anyway, well, that's a much deeper discussion for a later day, but I just wanted to kind of raise that issue so all of you can think about it and, how you think we as a society should handle that. I hope you enjoyed this discussion on taxes. I know it's not the most exciting subject. It was really great to speak with all of you today. Have a good one. Bye-bye.